Most people think they need a lot of money before anything starts working. They believe investing is only for rich people, or that passive income begins after years of saving. They picture some future version of themselves that finally has enough to become wealthy. And because they think they're not there yet, they wait. They push the moment forward week after week, year after year, and life goes by. But the truth is surprising. You don't need a big salary, a huge inheritance, or endless free time. You need less than you think. The minimum you need to let money work for you is not a big bank account. It's something much smaller and much more important: movement. The moment money starts moving in the right direction, even in tiny amounts, it becomes a worker. It becomes productive. It becomes something that grows without your constant effort. The biggest barrier for most people is not the amount, it's the mindset. If someone believes that investing requires thousands of dollars, they will never begin. If they believe the market is too risky, they will stay frozen. If they believe that every dollar must be perfect before it's invested, they will wait forever. But growth begins at the first step, not the 10th. Even $10 working every week can grow into something meaningful over time. And not just because of returns, but because it builds a habit. Habits create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence leads to bigger investments, and bigger investments lead to financial change. Most people underestimate the power of simply beginning. Money that works for you doesn't need to solve your whole life today. It just needs to take one job off your plate. Think about what happens when you start investing a small amount, maybe $50 a month. At first, it feels like nothing. A few months go by and the number looks tiny. A year later, maybe you have several $100s. But beneath the surface, something more important is happening. Your financial identity is changing. You're no longer someone who thinks about investing someday. You are someone who invests. That mental shift is worth far more than the first few dollars in growth, because identity drives behavior. When your identity changes, your financial direction changes forever. The minimum money you need to start letting it work for you is just enough to get in the game, even if it's $10, $20, or $30 a month. People waste more than that in a week without noticing. They spend it on snacks, subscriptions, convenience purchases. None of those things will matter in 5 years, but the investment will. The point is not the size. The point is the pattern. If you can invest a tiny amount consistently, you can invest a larger amount later. But if you wait until you have a larger amount later, you may never start. The habit is more valuable than the cash. The consistency is more valuable than the complexity. The world of compound growth rewards time more than size. Small money plus long time beats large money plus late start almost every time. That's why people who start early with tiny amounts often end up ahead of people who start late with bigger amounts. The system is designed that way. It's simple math. $10 with average market returns over a long period doesn't stay $10. It becomes more through the quiet work of compounding. No meetings, no effort, no stress. Money grows while you sleep, as long as you give it enough time to do its job. And the good news is that time is free. There is another part people overlook. You don't need to understand everything before you begin. You don't need the perfect investment account or the perfect stock or the perfect moment. The minimum knowledge you need is enough to avoid major mistakes. Learn the basics. Understand risk. Know the difference between a long-term investment and a gamble. And then start small. You can always learn more along the way. Investing is like driving. No one waits until they memorize the entire roadmap of the world before getting a license. You learn by moving. You adjust as you go. Standing still teaches nothing. Money begins to work for you the moment you stop working only for money. That means shifting the purpose of your income. Instead of every dollar being used to survive the month, some of it must be used to build the future. even if it's just $1 of every 10. Once that structure is in place, the direction of your financial life changes. You're no longer relying entirely on labor. You're relying on two engines, effort and growth. And over time, effort gets tired. Growth does not. Most people imagine financial freedom happening in one dramatic jump, but real freedom arrives slowly and quietly. It begins with a tiny gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap becomes savings. Savings become investments. Investments become passive income. Passive income becomes independence. Independence becomes peace. Every part begins with a small first step. The minimum money you need is whatever amount you can protect from disappearing. If it's small, it's small. That doesn't matter. You're giving it a job to do. People also underestimate how much money is already hiding in their life. Not earning more, just spending less. Sometimes the minimum you need to invest is waiting inside your everyday habits. One unused subscription, one less restaurant meal, one smarter purchase choice. The change might not feel exciting, but the results are. Cutting costs isn't about sacrifice, it's about direction. You're moving value from the present into the future. You're shifting power toward the part of life that will matter most.
There will always be people who tell you it's too late to start, or too early to start, or that the amount is too small to matter. The truth is the opposite. Starting early is a huge advantage. Starting late is still better than not starting at all. Starting small is infinitely better than waiting for perfect. The minimum you need to let money work for you is simply the will to begin. The moment you do that, the rules change. You are no longer outside the system, you're inside it. You are no longer wishing for growth, you are creating it. When you automate your contributions, even tiny ones, money becomes nearly invisible. You won't notice $10, $20, or $30 leaving your account every month, but you will notice it coming back multiplied in the future. The best part is that automation removes emotion from the process. No fear, no hesitation, no doubt, just steady motion forward. It doesn't matter if the market is up or down today. What matters is that you stayed invested. Your money worked every single day, even when you didn't think about it. The most surprising truth about wealth is that it doesn't start with privilege, it starts with structure. If your financial life has structure, even weak structure, it will grow. If it has no structure, even high income will fall apart. That's why some people earning six figures stay broke, while others earning very little build meaningful wealth over time. The difference isn't luck, the difference is motion. The minimum you need isn't financial strength, it's financial direction. Money working for you means freedom working for you. It means time working for you. It means options working for you. The earlier you start, the more life opens up. You stop imagining a future and begin building one. And the first brick is small. It always is. The most powerful financial advantage in the world is not being rich, it's being early. And early means now. So the question isn't how much you need to start investing. The real question is how much longer you're willing to wait. Because the minimum amount of money required to change your financial future might actually be less than what's in your pocket right now. The smallest step can reshape the next decade. A tiny habit can rewrite your identity. And once that shift happens, you'll look back and realize the hardest part wasn't saving money. It was believing that small money mattered. But it does. It always has. And if you let it, it will start working for you today.